Hey, it's Kevin Lyman, and we're hanging out at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the 25th anniversary of the Vans Warped Tour exhibit opening. And I'm hanging out here with We the Kings. I mean, some people don't talk about, but they were saying, like, people are asking, like, which band, you're going to get asked later, which band do all the parents like? And I'm surprised no one said We the Kings, because my wife's a parent. And we were on the plane. She was so excited that you're here. And if Andy Black's not going to be here, you were second best. So,
right. Well, we have one fan out there. That's nice.
So, we've been through a lot. You guys, it's We the King is that band that sometimes is like that. I call you the sleeper band of Warped Tour in a sense. And it's that sleeper band, not sleep-in band, a sleeper band that no matter when I've ever booked you, and it's like We the Kings. And then you go on stage, and you do draw some of the biggest crowds every year to that stage. And, you're not a brand new band. How many years have you now been around?
This will be our 12th year.
Yeah.
12th year. But I think the reason that is because anytime that anybody, you've obviously given us a ton of shots. Anytime that anybody's gone out on a limb and said, like, hey, We the Kings, I'm going out on a limb for you. Let's try to get you guys in. We have done everything in our absolute power to make sure that they're not disappointed. So I think that's why the crowds come, and I think that's why we work so hard at what we do.
And you take it, and I no matter where I put you, on a set, and that's the thing with Warped. I wrote that set list every morning, and people would always ask that, and I think it was one of those things that it was to expose you to new fans, challenge you at times. Maybe after, for some of you, a late night time, and you'd see that 11:30 spot. It's the only way I could punish a band sometimes. And people don't realize it was like, if they got that 11:30 spot, you kind of maybe remember the night before at the barbecue watching them, maybe.
We went.
Yeah, I know that this was supposed to lead to you telling a story.
There's usually 3 or 4, sometimes 5 shows on the entire Warped Tour that we do, where we have the first set time on that stage. And every time it happens, anytime the set list is released at like 9 or 10 a.m., we all look at each other like, all right, who fucked up? Who was it? Who was it? And we all look at each other. We try to figure out who it was that said something to somebody.
Do you remember the barbecue last night?
And if you didn't remember, it'd be like, that was you.
Yeah, it was never really meant, there was no, but that was the only thing to keep people on their game, because Warped Tour is an open society of people, and there's a lot of people out there, and it can get ahead of you sometimes, just like this business can, and I know that you guys have really balanced your lives in a way. You've kind of kept this career going. You've had no real peaks and valleys, I don't think. And it's been steady, and that's what's kind of rad about, to me, We the Kings, that you never went into this meter act and had to figure it out, or you had a great time, but you kind of always took it that, okay, we're lucky to be out here. We got to keep working.
Yeah, we were always told that anytime, so our brother band was Metro Station, and they had obviously a very big rise. And I remember our management always telling us, and our friends always telling us, like, hey, listen, a slow rise, and and you get a real fan base and a fan base that will stick with you. So we never really had the sharp, we're the biggest band on any tour, and we're happy with that. We're honestly, I know it sounds like
we'll see you guys later,
but we appreciate being the band that is consistent, and hopefully that slow rise is still happening.
So I still have a chance in the business.
Yeah.
Right.
We're good.
And might I say, what an honor to be the second place band as favorite parents. That's wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And then you mentioned a band, Metro Station, and I have to digress into that whole barbecue kind of story thing. Metro Station came back when they were doing their kind of comeback.
Yep.
And they came to me and said, can we be on Warped Tour? Because they were too big the first time. They were, we don't need this, we're on our way. And then they came back. And I always believe in giving bands a chance when they're kind of regrouping. But Cyrus, I think it was the guy in the band, right?
Yep.
And they started bragging how they were going to out-party any band that had ever been on Warped Tour. So you're talking a lot of
That's
there's
dangerous.
a lot of history out there. And
hold on, they can't out-party us. They can't out-party at the time their own management mates.
So what ended up happening was we started out on the West Coast, and it was California's like the comfort zone.
Yeah.
The temperatures are usually somewhat moderate. We're not dying out there. So they were going for it. They were like, in the morning we're going to charge, we're going to do this. I'll never forget, because what usually comes after California? Your hometown.
The desert.
Your hometown.
Oh yeah, Florida.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, we're used to that, though.
You're used to that, but hot.
The desert.
The desert comes after California.
Yeah.
And we pull into Phoenix, and I see them sitting back, doors are opening. They haven't taken a merch thing out of their trailer. Their gear's kind of sprawled out on the ground, and they're sitting in their trailer with buckets.
Oh my gosh.
Covering over buckets. And I walked by and I said, that didn't last so long. That was the fourth show.
You're like, hey, you guys are on at 11 a.m.
Yeah, and I just have to let you know you're on in 15 minutes. Let's go, you guys. But
get it together, baby.
40 dates left. All right, here we go.
So 24 in a row. Here we go.
So it was very important for me to have you part of these shows.
Thank you.
You guys have been here, and when we started putting these things together, immediately it was like Atlantic City or San Francisco, and then when we found out that you could possibly play these shows, and you jumped in because I know that family is very important to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guys. And I know I've known your wife since you pretty much met her.
Yeah.
And how old's your daughter now?
3 and 1.
3 and
1 on the way.
So you jumped on a flight here and balanced this out. After a dance last night, I gather.
Yeah, my daughter's first dance recital, we had rehearsals last night, and I'm doing a dad's dance where 28 dads get in and do this ridiculous thing.
Check this out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see.
There's the Titanic where I play Rose.
Take off the jacket.
Can you sing Celine for me?
Absolutely not.
No, you're right. We are a very family-oriented band, all 4 of us.
Yeah, have children now, right?
Have
How
children.
old are your kids now?
2.
4 and 2.
We got 1.5 and 1 on the way.
Yeah. So the idea of family, to us, obviously, especially if you can find it away from your family at home, is obviously awesome.
Okay, so as like kind of the dad of Warp, you guys, it was like a peer to, and now I'm like a mentor disciplinarian. I'm gonna give you a little fatherly advice, okay,
Please.
while we're here, just before.
Take it all.
No matter how cool you are in a band, you're only so cool as dad. So
Right.
don't think you're gonna be like that cool dad that rolls into school. Just plan on walking. All the other dads are going to be 10 feet behind. Like they have to walk lawyers, bankers, 10 feet behind their kids. You only have to be 5.
Nice.
But still behind.
Behind.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
plan on being behind. Don't think you're going to be rolling with it because, of course, it's Kevin Lyman, Brett Garowitz, we all had our kids say so. We could walk a little closer, but we still had. And then I look at those guys and go, "Get 5 feet behind me, because I'm a little cooler than you." So,
the issue is our biggest ego. We haven't really ever been the egotistical band,
No.
and it's been because of the second best always and very long consistency. But we have the largest egos because we all think like our kids are going to be the biggest fans of us. So we need that ego check. Like, hey, listen, your kids are going to want to be like, Dad, can you stay in the car? You're embarrassing me. So we're not ready for that.
And that's the next thing. My daughter turned me on to We the Kings.
That's right.
That's kind of a famous kind of thing. How I first got turned on to We the Kings. Sierra, you guys all know Sierra and Sabrina, both my daughters. You guys have been very kind to them on the road, and I appreciate that.
They're like our little sisters.
But my daughter Sierra was playing some music with some friends, and they were listening to We the Kings, and I walked by and go, "Who is that?" And they go, "It's a band we love called We the Kings." I go,
It's actually a true story. And
yeah, this is totally true.
And then our agent got an email or a call, and he was like, "Hey, do you guys want to do Warped Tour?" And we were like, "Hell yes!"
Yeah. So we learn from our children.
Yeah.
Like we've learned all along in life that our children are our future.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, as a father, you listen to your children, and I listen to my daughter, and that started a relationship with We the Kings. And it's been a great relationship because I've always loved having you guys out on the road with me.
Thank you.
And Sabrina and Sierra both send their best wishes. But as a family, you make priorities. You jumped on a plane and to get up here, and Sierra's now got a job down there in Atlanta. She's living on her own, and Sabrina had finals for college.
Wow.
And I would have loved to have them here, but we always have to make priorities.
That's crazy because I don't think my daughters will ever grow up, but I see your daughters, and they're babies. Well, not baby. They were baby. Now they're just like they're women. It's wild.
And you had to go get your case of. The sad thing is, my daughter was 14, passing out the beer on Warped Tour. That's great. Your career, she'd sit on the throne of beer and pass it out to you guys. Your case of the.
She
She did not mess around. She's the only girl that would take a 30-pack and take 6 out and say a case is 24 when a band came to the production office. So thank you for coming. Yeah, getting ready upstairs. It's going to be a fun night, fun
it's
day,
awesome.
and
That's awesome.
it's fun to see all these young faces around the Rock Hall.
Yeah.
Because I was hanging around the Rock Hall myself yesterday, and I felt young. No, just a lot of Blue Oyster Cult shirts and things. It was great because you always revert back to like the music time that was important to you. So I wore a new Ramones shirt to here in honor of the Ramones at the Rock Hall, and it's great to see so many young people running around here. It's funny though; it's still a Warped Tour. They're like in corners, kind of sitting around and
Catching the shade.
because you know what? They're music fans. They're ready for the music.
And they have been. This isn't their first Warped Tour. They have been year after year after year. So Cleveland's always been a great city for us. So they're holding on to their energy until the bands get going. So.
They're meditating.
Yeah.
We all meditate now. I started meditating just a while ago.
Nice.
And I'm really happy to have these guys here, and I'll be seeing you again this summer, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're all hanging out. We're gonna bring the Are you bringing the families to Atlantic City or anything this year?
I think Atlantic City. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice to see the
I'm sure
beach.
our wives are gonna fly day.
Yeah, that's a. You guys want to be there? Families there. It's great because there's the show, the boardwalk,
the water, the
you
ocean.
can swim
the
in the
beach.
ocean.
My 2-year-old loves the casinos.
Can you imagine?
He's really good.
Can you imagine some of those kids, like the outfits we've seen on Warped Tour in those parking lots? Most people come in shorts and something you can swim in, but some of those kids getting in that thing, we're gonna have a lot of lifeguards ready to go.
Oh man.
Lifeguards ready to
Mainly
go.
for the bands.
It's
Like, all right, hold on. You've had
Sir,
3 too many.
Sir, come back.
But it's going to be a great time, and it could not have excluded these guys. And I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come up to the Rock Hall and be part of this. I'm going to be hanging out today, and you've seen me on your sets because what's my favorite song?
All of them.
Nice.
Sorry. I had to say it.
Juliet.
We see you there for the whole set. So
Yeah, I'm always. That's just a band that sometimes you just want some positivity in a day. It's a hot day and everything, and if I have the time and I hear We the Kings. It was the same thing with Rancid early on. It was like if I heard them, I'm going to go over there and go, you know what? This is a moment you want to just go hang out, watch the faces of the fans because they've always got smiles on their faces at your shows. They run up to their mom afterwards and say, oh my God, I just met this band. We the Kings are the nicest people in the world. And you guys will rank there. And if you add, they won't ask the question. They didn't ask who's the nicest band. They said who's the most fun to party in this thing. But I would say We the Kings would probably be my vote for nicest band on Warped Tour.
I think that's the first time that
we get a number one.
That's the first time that We the Kings has ever been mentioned in an interview with Rancid.
You're the ninth number one of the day.
Yeah.
All right?
Number one.
So this is Kevin Lyman, We the Kings. We're here at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 25th anniversary exhibit opening. Getting ready for the show. It's kicking off in the next few minutes up there. Hope to see you up there. Hope to see you all down the road. I know I'll be crossing paths with you because now you can come to a barbecue in my backyard.
That's right.
Well, man.
All right.
Absolutely.